Okay, this is the silent word.
He started taking tea at 4 o'clock each day, and any of the mandali around got a few sips. Shankarnath joined the full-time resident mandali. On the evening of the 30th June, Baba was leaving to go up the hill and suddenly stopped in barricades as he had some 5 months earlier and said, Maya is mere imagination, illusion. Where there is lust, there is Maya. Where there is anger, there is Maya. Where there is greed, there is Maya. Don't be the slaves of your own imagination. Conquer it, and you will see the real personification of God. Then he went on. That was the last night he spent in the tank. In the morning, he came down with his bedroll and began sleeping in the box in the cider bar. The 1 year of silence was up, and all were looking forward intensely to hearing him speak again. Consequently, it was a great disappointment when he announced that he intended to remain in silence for another. The disappointment was the keenest among the women, for they had always been entranced by his voice more than moved by the words he spoke. His voice was the sound of love, and the only thing that mattered was that during the short time he gave them his company, the sound should flow through their hearts and into their actions of service. And the year was too long to wait. Mehra recalled, among a thousand recollections, a special little song and dance he had done for her once outside her window. The Torbador and his lady, divinely so, and the other women remembered special occasions of his voice, of his glance, of his stride across the landscape. Another year before they again heard his golden voice. Impossible. Baba was only joking. Had he told them, and the men also, that his silence would continue for the rest of their lives, and his advent is in fact was a mission of silence, none would have been able to support the loss. So he egged them on with announcements and promises that he would break his silence by or on certain dates. And furthermore, that when he did speak, all people would bear witness to the speaking, and his inner circle would become God realized. For his speaking would not be mere speech, but the divine creative word which rules and loves and sustains the universe and the affairs of men. A party from Telgaon came and recited their bhajans and left. A lame donkey with a running sore came along the road, and Baba took it to the hospital and cleaned and dressed the wound. Finding the Mandli irregular in attendance and inattentive to their flour grinding, Baba ordered it to be stopped for the day, but he finished his own period of it. Teaching them, Baba gave out the following: Paramatma equals God unconsciousness, Ishwar equals God as creator, Jiva equals the individual soul, Shiva equals conscious knowing self God. He then explained Kabir's famous verses. Ek Rama Dasrath Ghar Dole. One God is a cradle. One God in a cradle is rocked in King Dasrath's house. Ek Rama Gat Gat mein bole. One God in the depths of every heart is speaking. Ek Rama ka sakal pasara. One God sustains everything out spreading. Ek Rama Tribhuvan se nyara. One God is beyond the whole creation. He said the verses refer to body, mind, spirit, self. Continuing, Baba said, in order to know itself, Paramatma took form, in brackets Jivatma, but it also got karma at the same time. And karma means sanskaras or mental impressions. Now, none can escape karma, the impressions of actions of the mind, but he can and must act in such a way that opposite sanskaras are found to counterbalance the first ones. Devotion, charities, prayers, bhajans, kirtans, name repetitions, etc. make such opposite sanskaras and burn away the ones already made, while tapascharya, in brackets austerity, starvation, and yoga, etc., create bindings. The real starvation is when the mind, not the body, is starved. The ears.
So,
Starting with devotion or what?
How about
yes,
starting at continuing? Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
starting and
let's do
continuing. Yeah.
continuing because
we're,
it's really important.
we're repeating a paragraph, folks, that we thought was
Yeah.
important. Go ahead, Rosalie.
Continuing, Baba said, in order to know itself, Paramatma took form, Jivatman, but it also got karma at the same time. And karma means sanskaras or mental impressions. Now, none can escape karma, the impressions of actions on the mind, but he can and must act in such a way that opposite sanskaras are found to counterbalance the first ones. Devotion, charities, prayers, bhajans, kirtans, name repetitions, etc., make such opposite sanskaras and burn away the ones already made, while tapaskaraya, austerities, starvation, and yoga, etc., create bindings. The real starvation is when the mind, not the body, is starved. The year's silence had done much to confirm the Mandalis' faith in their master, that he was what he obviously was, man and God, which is what all Sadgurus or perfect masters are. But he did not for a long time yet, some 30 years, say he was Avatar. God descended, God man. Many men have remained silent for even a lifetime, but under special conditions of solitude and seclusion, taking no part in worldly affairs. But who except God Almighty could engage in all the activities he had taken part in? The detailed supervision of the ashram and the colony surrounding it, bathing the boys and washing their clothes, writing a book, grinding flour, giving darshan to tens of thousands, and interviews to hundreds, as well as dictating more discourses than the previous year when he was speaking, dispensing justice and healing the villagers' quarrels. helping the untouchables to stand up as human beings, playing cricket and football and other boys' games. And in the midst of all this, assuming anger, displeasure, joviality, seriousness, mirth, pity, and sorrow without once being heard to utter a sound. Here surely was a man immeasurable in human terms. And the Mandali insisted on celebrating the anniversary of his silence with a holiday. I need you to scroll. With a holiday and a 24-hour fast. This was broken with a special dinner in the afternoon. And thus a new universal date was added to the calendar. 2 or 3 of the Mandali reported having dreamt of the passing of Brabazon. And Baba said that she had finished her work and relinquished her office. She might drop her body in 10, 20, or the most 200 days. For 2 or 3 years after that, there will be great upheavals in the world. And then there will be a period of peace and spiritual advancement in the world. In the afternoon at Kaka's place, Baba gave prasad, and somehow or other, Warnan Subris was left out. During the bhajans which followed, it was noticed that Baba was looking at him in a peculiar way. And at night, when everyone took Baba's darshan before retiring, he seemed to be prevented from doing so. All of a sudden, he cried out loudly, "Sadhguru Meher Baba Maharaj Ki Jai," and started slapping himself violently. Many of the Mandali ran to him and tried to pacify him, but he seemed to be possessed of a supernatural strength and burst through them, still shouting and slapping himself, all the time saying that he had been deprived of both Baba's prasad and darshan. This went on for some 2 hours till midnight, and then just as suddenly as it started, it ceased. Baba now began a new routine or phase, which was to last till February. The one meal he had been taking every day was stopped, and he took only milk, tea, and dal. He would take only a passive interest in the ashram's affairs. No more explanations and lectures. Save for a round of inspections each day, he would keep to one fixed place. He would not play any more games with them or attend any more plays. The Mandali, who had been in turn keeping fast with him, would go on to liquids instead. Most of the next day, 12th July, the first day of the change, he occupied his old seat under the neem tree by the roadside. A great dispute started to seethe in the village over certain rights and privileges. It seemed that almost everyone was involved and remembered things about one another long thought dead or forgotten. Baba called them all before him, and after some hours of claims and counterclaims, accusations and assertions, brought about a peaceful settlement that satisfied everyone. So much so that the leaders apologized to Baba for being so much trouble to him. Another aspirant for God realization came, and Baba gave him the usual terms, which of late had been handed out to men with lofty ideas, but obviously small determination. Stay for 1 year in a hut near Baba's, taking only one meal a day and remaining silent for the period. As with most of such seekers, he readily accepted the terms. But when a little later Baba asked him what he was thinking, he answered, "I wish I was in Shirdi." Baba knew that the fellow considered himself to be one of Sai Baba's followers. So he told him that the shrine in Shirdi would be the best place for him.
Okay, I'm there. It's resumed.
I don't see that. At the top of the page, or are we at the top of the page?
Yep.
Although Baba had said that he would not give any talks and explanations, he continued to do so. Peter brought a high government official and his family to see Baba. But Baba came out late that morning, much to the annoyance of the man. Is that Peter? Peter brought a high government official, and his family to see Baba, but Baba came out late that morning, much to the annoyance of the man. Peter even tried personally to bring Baba out. After they had left, Baba reminded him that distinguished or obscure were the same to him. He deplored Peter's snobbishness. News came one night that a murder had been committed at Kalawada, 1 mile from the ashram on the road to Nagar. The Mandali could not believe it and thought murder was merely an exaggeration of perhaps injury in a scuffle with robbers. But Baba sent some of them to investigate. When they arrived, they found 3 men lying in the nala. One was dead, killed with a blow from a sharp instrument, and the other 2 were still living, although badly bashed up. Rustam was the first to recover from the shock and set out on his bike to the railway station to inform the police and get a carriage. The Arangown police Patel was also reached and came and guarded the body until the police from Nagar came. In the meantime, Rustam arrived back and took the wounded to the ashram hospital, where Karkal took them over. Some police officers came through the night to see and question the injured. They commended Rustam for his prompt action. Early in the morning, the district superintendent came out and inspected the place of the murder, and, with the consent of the doctor, had the injured removed to the Nagar hospital. Later in the morning, Baba called a general meeting and appointed full-time night watchmen. Baba was very pleased with Rustamji. from the celebration of the 12th day of the month. Dwadashi. From the celebration of the 12th day of the month. Dwadashi. The Hindu mandali again turned Mehrabad into a semblance of a country fair. Baba was ceremonially bathed and arti and puja performed. Then the Mahars came with a beautifully decorated carriage drawn by a pair of horses also decorated, and took Baba in procession to the village where a mandap had been erected and a seat prepared under it for him. The road from the ashram to Arangown was spanned by bunting wound arches, and Baba's progress was cheered all the way. When he took his seat, arti was performed and bhajans were sung, and people pressed forward to get a better sight of their beloved Lord. At night, in return for their honor, the Mahars had paid him at night, in return for the honor the Mahars had paid him, Baba gave a dinner at the ashram to several hundreds of the people of the Arangown. It had rained solidly for 3 hours during the afternoon, and 3 people of a party which tried to cross the swollen Arangown River were drowned. On the 23rd of July, Baba changed his meals and stopped taking liquids and stopped. On the 23rd of July, Baba changed his meals and stopped taking liquids only, and had one meal a day between 3 and 8 o'clock. Reader?
Oh, thank you very much. Resuming the recording. And Marvin.
There was a discussion whether it would be possible for the Hindu and non-Hindu mandali to share the same food and cooking and the same water pots. The discussion became heated, and so Baba wound it up by advising that it would be best to continue the present separate arrangements, even though to him all Sadgurus are equal and all religious observations mere drill and routine. Still, the religious feelings of one another should be scrupulously respected. In fact, facilities and encouragement should be given to any staunch follower of any religious law. 15 new boys were admitted to the school. There was another false alarm one night, and Baba, with all the mandali, went round the whole place with lanterns and their stout sticks. 3 days after the celebration of Dwadashi, the Hindu mandali observed the Guru Purnima, or full moon holiday. And Baba told them that the real Guru Purnima for them was bowing down at the feet of the Guru with the innocence of a child and swearing not to leave him until he speaks again. Niroji's birthday was the same day, and Baba distributed sweets to them all. During the evening bhajans, Baba leaned over and took the, quote, duff, a sort of tambourine, and played it in beautiful timing, and a very serene atmosphere prevailed. At night, Baba played Achapacha with the mandali for 2 hours under the full moon, and then served them with milk tea. 8 new boys were taken into the school. One Raya Mandapwala with his family were allowed to give a tea party to the whole of Mehrabad. He served a large variety of sweets and salty pastries. Kaka Shahani's younger brother, who lived in Nagar, reported that he had been to the bazaar and there saw Baba with 4 strange men. He bowed down to him, but when he raised his head, Baba was not there. Baba had, of course, been in Mehrabad at the time. The Mandali's diet was changed from liquids only to weak tea without milk, bread morning and evening, and dal and rice in the afternoon. There was considerable discussion about celebrating the Zoroastrian New Year, called Kadmi Papati, in 10 days' time, and a lengthy program was drawn up, including pulao for dinner and bhagwan stew for supper. But for some reason or other, the meals did not eventuate, and the only sport played was a cricket match, with Baba captaining one side. Bar Soap had again become restless and full of grievances and wanted to go away. After long talks, Baba fixed a date and a time, 6 o'clock in the morning, for his leaving. But he had not gone far when he was called back, and Baba again talked at length with him, and he stayed. Baba again changed the time for his and the Mandali's meals. Under the excuse that spices were being too freely used, Baba cut them out altogether and had the dal cooked plain. Less than prison fare, one of them said. One of the Sata brothers for some time had been cycling out from Nagar every Sunday. On one of his trips, his machine broke down just as he arrived, and it couldn't be mended. So in the evening, he had to walk back. Baba, with 4 of the Mandali, went with him to the station, which was most of the distance, where they got tongas. Baba and the 4 to the ashram and Sata home. On their return, they found that a snake had been killed. Kaikushru picked it up, and Baba told him to drop it and go and wash his hands 24 times. 8 glasses and plates were found to be missing, and as a punishment for negligence, 8 of the staff were given a fast for 24 hours, beginning the next day. But in the morning, the order was canceled. The postmaster was transferred to another town, and he gave his dog to his nephew, and the boy brought it to Baba. After a couple of days, Baba ordered the animal to be returned. It transpired later that at the very time of his order, the postmaster's wife had been feeling the loss of the pet. Rustamji and Kaka went to Nasik to give evidence in a case against Raghunath, who had been charged with stealing a bicycle, with the result that he was only fined 100 rupees instead of going to prison. Baba arranged payment, pardoned him, and allowed him to resume his duties at the ashram. Arjun was sick, and for the day, Baba took over his duties of looking after the boy's clothing, food, and baths. At one of the Thursday tea parties, Kaka made an offering of special dainties for Baba, but Baba had the Mandali draw lots for them. In Pune one night, Shireen Mai and her sister Paroja were returning home from a visit to Brabazon. When they saw Baba get down from a carriage, they hastened towards him, calling his name, but he disappeared down a dark lane. The 15th of August was Kordad Sal, or the birth of Zoroaster, and the ashram was awakened in the early morning by a procession of schoolboys with bugles and drums. After bathing and taking the darshan of the living prophet, a program of cricket matches began, which went on all day, with a tea break at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At 7 o'clock, the British ceremony was performed. The birth ceremony was performed according to Hindu rites. A small cradle was decorated and a picture of Zoroaster placed in it, and his birth announced with solemn chanting. Then Baba's arti for Maharaj was performed, after which bhajans were sung for an hour or so.
Thank you, Marvin. Okay, we're resuming recording.
A yogi-looking sort of man came to Baba for guidance. Baba gave him the instructions: Matla, Gatla, Gotla, Satla, Vatla, Chotla, Patla. Oh, what is that? What is um, the translation? Mayor Kiran. Matla, Gatla, Gotla, Satla, Vatla, Chotla, Potla.
But I have no idea. But
Oh, okay.
I will try to find by the time we come to end. But let me
All
take
right.
down the words.
Okay.
Matla,
Okay.
Gatla,
I'll go ahead and read then. You take the words down.
yeah, and then the last word is
Potla.
Gotla. Gotla in the Gotla, and then
Satla, Vatla, Chotla.
We are
okay, you can.
recording,
It's
Betty.
on screen. Several cricket matches were played over the next few days, and much of the talk was about the current test matches between Australia and England. Baba greatly admired the English players, especially Hobbs and Sutcliffe. One day, Baba called on visitors to help him wash the boys' clothes. The women played cricket for an hour in their own compound. The women played cricket for an hour in their own compound. Baba umpired it, and Kaka Shahane scored. One of the boys absconded in the night, and Baba held the director, monitors, and all the teachers responsible. Oh, and as a punishment made them hold quinine powder on their tongues and not gulp or swallow it. Ugh, but as soon as they began to show signs of acute distress, he told them to spit it out and gave them sweets to take away the bitterness. The boys played a regular cricket match for the first time. Pandoba became the father of a son, and he took a big box of sweets out to Baba, who distributed them to everyone. Coconut Day was observed, and in the evening Baba was taken in procession up the hill, and a new arti was recited by the women. Coconuts and flowers were thrown into the pond, and then with the men Baba retired into the tank room and chit-chatted for an hour before returning down the hill. In the early hours one morning, before the Mandali had finished their tea, Baba suddenly ordered all to take up the work of an extension of the school. Some paid carpenters were sent for to do the necessary alteration of the roof structure. Baba not only supervised the work, but every now and then pitched in himself, urging a faster and faster pace. By evening, what normally would have taken many days was finished. They all played cricket for a while. When Baba returned from the field, there were a number of visitors to see him, and he talked to them for an hour. Baba received a telegram that his mother was seriously ill. While he was reading it to the Mandali, a din of music announced a marriage party come from the village for his darshan. He put aside the telegram and talked with them and sent them off with his blessings. Rustam was sent to Bombay, among other things, to buy clothes for the boys and Mandali. Baba declared that he was very satisfied with the management and progress of the school and the other institutions, especially with Chanji. This was the first time he had so expressed himself. With 16 of the Mandali in a lorry, Baba visited a school called Anath Ashram in Nagar, which is conducted by a pious Hindu recluse who received the party very cordially. Tea and fruits were served. One of the boys, who was blind but had been going to Mehrabad regularly for Baba's darshan, was promised eyesight. When Baba began to speak again, the party returned in the evening. When the ashram boys saluted him at bedtime, Baba told them to stick to him under any circumstances whatever until he spoke. Those who remained with him at the time of his speaking would, he promised, received a tremendously great benefit. The yogi-like fellow who had come to Baba a few days earlier and had been given the strange instruction, matla, etc., said he did not want to stay on. Upon deeper inquiry, that it was found that his main complaint was about the food. Baba laughed and said, "Come for God and gone for bread." There was some trouble between Behram and a new man at the ashram named Murlidhar, a tailor from Lonavla. Behram thought the man had deliberately disobeyed an order and told him to get out of the workroom. He went out and sat under a tree. When the matter was brought before Baba, he held both men responsible. He told Murlidhar that by stopping work he had broken his order. In spite of Behram's order for him to leave, he should have stuck to his post until actually thrown out by force. But he warned Behram never to turn out anybody without express orders from him to do so, and to report any serious cases of disobedience to him for necessary action. Later in the day, Behram had a misunderstanding with Baba. Behram became so excited that he started to walk away. But some of the Mandali went after him and brought him back, and Baba soothed him, and peace returned.
Resuming the recording, the Gokul Ashtami holiday, 30th August, was observed. The school was closed, and most of the day was spent playing cricket with Baba, also taking part. The Sai Durbar was decorated. At 5 in the afternoon, the birth ceremony of Krishna Gokul was performed, and the boys sang bhajans. The holiday was continued the next day. Atya Patya was played from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. At 10, the boys came in procession from their house in the village, bearing a large earthenware pot of curds, and arrived at the Sai Durbar, where it was hung from the ceiling. Bhajans were sung, and then Rustamji broke the pot, and there was a wild scramble by the boys to scoop up the curds in their cupped hands. This is one of the most popular of Hindu ceremonies. In the afternoon, Baba called a meeting of the intimate Mandali. He told them that he had become very weak because of his fasting. But shortly he would abstain from the one meal and only take liquids such as sips of tea, coffee, or milk. Even these would be given up towards the end. And in February, for 70 hours, he would actually be as one dead. But after that, he would rise again and raise the circle with him. Of course, even now he was dead, dead to all but himself, the glorious one. But then even his body would bear the appearance of death. He told them how fortunate they were that at that time they would get realization in an instant. The talk turned on a certain Angya Swami, who had been staying at the ashram for some time, but lately had become very disturbed in himself and talked about leaving the place. Then one night he had a dream. He saw Upasani Maharaj, Narayan Maharaj, Babajan, and Sai Baba, and ranged behind them other spiritual personalities, and all were telling him to stick it out and remain where he was. Upasani caught hold of the Swami's hand and hissed, "You madcap, where will you go if you leave? If at all your desires are to be fulfilled, it will be here, where you are." Resuming now.
A fancy dress carnival was held in the Sai Durbar from 7 to 9 p.m. Rustam and Mohan were adjudged the best costume and shared the 10 rupee prize. Baba announced generally that from the next day, 2nd September, he would leave off eating any solid food for 5 to 6 months, and he invited the Mandali to prepare various dishes for his last dinner. The cooks, both the regular ones and those for the day, were on the job early in the morning and everything was ready by noon. Baba tasted each dish and then distributed it as prasad, first to the one who had cooked it and then to the others. There was another man who wanted to leave, the milkman. He could go out to buy the milk for the colony, but if he went out for his own reasons without getting Baba's permission, he would fall sick. His health had become quite spoiled. He went to Baba and confessed his attempts to go out without permission. Baba told him never to leave the place without his permission, but to remain until the end. There was another, also a wrestler, who had left without permission. Within a week, he suffered a humiliating defeat in his art. With Baba's permission, Bar Soap left, probably for good. Ani's birthday was celebrated with tea and jalebis brought out by a young Nagar lawyer, Darkep Talkar. He was to have a scattered association with Baba over the years till the end. A three-way cricket match was played on some holiday beginning at 7:30 in the morning. Baba captained one team, Rustam another, and Chanji the third. There were to be prizes for the winning team, the captain of the winning team, one making a century, and the best bowling average. They played for 3 hours. After tea in the afternoon, the games were resumed. The first match between Baba's and Rustamji's teams was won by Rustam's. The second match was a draw. After supper, there was music until 9 o'clock, when Baba declared that he was hungry and, naming a variety of dishes, said he wanted them in 17 minutes.
The Mandalay were astonished. It was only 1 week since he began his fast. And a meal of many dishes in 17 minutes? But somehow in 17 minutes it was ready. Baba was very pleased, and after tasting each dish, mixed them all up and gave the mess to his companions. The Ganesh festival came around. His image was installed in the Sai Durbar, and Baba, with help from the Mandalay, served the boys a good feast. At 7:30 one morning, a Colonel Irani and a Professor Kapadia from Deakin College, Pune, came to see Baba. Rustam showed them around and came to know that Colonel was his uncle by marriage. The two men made no secret of their ill feelings towards Baba and the colony. The professor was particularly hostile to Mohan, whom he recognized as one of his own pupils. He said he was amazed to find such a good student from such a cultured family wasting his time on superstition and false teaching. But the boy answered him boldly yet respectfully. The two men were greatly inquisitive about the finances of the place. Mohan said that for himself he was not interested where the money came from, but how it was being used, and surely education, especially of the depressed classes, and the healing of the sick were the very best ways of spending money. But the visitor said it was all done for self-advertisement and to impress ignorant people with assumed spiritual greatness. Baba kept them waiting for 3 hours and then sent word that he would see them. They seemed eager enough to meet him, but when Rustam asked them to remove their shoes before approaching him, they became confused and hesitated and left. The colonel had for some time been the most active and vehement in the Zoroastrian community's opposition, and later on organized public meetings to denounce Baba as a fraud. After they had departed, Baba said that for people who all their waking time are engaged in pursuing wine, women, and wealth, intoxication, lust, and greed. It was sheer hypocrisy even to mention, let alone criticize, the great truth. How could they for a single moment think about that truth? It was a pity that they had not fulfilled their pilgrimage and seen him, for he would have given them the lecture of their lives. Still, their coming and the 3 hours' wait will one day be rewarded. They had fared worse at Sikori with Maharaj. There they had not been allowed even to drink the water of the sacred place, lest they polluted it. Baba continued, "It is the general tendency of the human mind to cling to its own ideas. The Parsis considered their religion to be the only true one, the same with Mohammedans and Christians. Each holds his religion as true, and anyone who doesn't agree is a heathen." Rustem put in that the colonel had said that he had read widely about the life of Zoroaster, but nowhere had he found any similarity to what was going on at Mehrabad. Baba said, "Zoroaster did what he thought was the best for the people at that time. What is being done here is the best for this time. If they or you chaps don't take it up, what is that to me?" One morning at their breakfast of weak tea and bread, someone mentioned the hardships and pleasures that the early Mandalay had experienced on their tours with Baba before they had settled down at Mehrabad, and then put forward the suggestion that Baba should go on another tour so that the newcomers to the Mandalay should also have that sort of experience. Baba liked the idea, but said if they went, they would have to go without a penny in their pockets and beg their food and other needs. It was decided that only would go for 7 days' walk, and the names were taken of those who wished to go. Then Baba said it would be better to go out for only 1 day as a tryout, and they would leave at 10 o'clock. 20 set out towards Walki, a village a few miles past Arangan. It was a merry party with Sarosh playing a mouth organ and the others expressing their feelings of joy in song. Most of the way Baba was lifted up and carried pair by pair in turn. The day was hot but hospitable. Clouds shaded them from the direct sun. 3 or 4 times Baba had asked them all did they wish to return, but the majority wanted to go on.
Thank you, Marcia.
Okay.
We'll
Okay,
stop
Baba.
here.
Okay, great.